Welcome to Progress Over Perfection, the POP podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's start with a question. How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it when I feel more confident? I'll apply for that job when I feel more qualified. I'll start that creative project when I feel ready. I'll have that difficult conversation when I feel brave enough. We treat confidence like a ticket we have to buy before we can get on the ride. But what if we have it all backward? Today, we're going to talk about why waiting for confidence is a trap and how to build it by doing the one thing you're avoiding, taking action. Think about that thing you want to do, that goal that's been sitting on your mind for weeks, months, maybe even years. What's the story you tell yourself about why you haven't started? For so many of us, that story is rooted in a feeling of not enoughness. We feel like an imposter. We see other people out there doing the thing and they look so sure of themselves, so polished. And we think, I'll get started once I have that. So we wait. We read another book, take another course, make another plan. We stand on the sidelines waiting for a magical wave of confidence to wash over us and carry us into the arena. But the wave never comes, and the waiting just reinforces the belief that we aren't the kind of person who can do it. I can tell you, when I first had the idea to start this podcast, the last thing I felt was confident. My mind was a catalog of doubts. Who am I to give advice? My voice sounds weird. What if no one listens? What if I run out of things to say after 2 episodes? The gap between the polished podcast I imagined and the reality of me sitting in a quiet room feeling completely unqualified was enormous. If I had waited until I felt like a real podcaster, you wouldn't be hearing this right now. I had to accept that the first recording would be imperfect, that I would probably stumble over my words, that I would learn as I went. The confidence didn't come first. The action came first, dragging the confidence behind it, kicking and screaming. This brings us to the core misconception. We've been sold a lie that confidence is a prerequisite, that it's an internal state you must achieve before you begin. It's not our fault we believe this. We live in a world that celebrates the highlight reel. On social media, we see the successful business, not the 1,000 failed ideas that came before it. We see the stunning painting, not the hundreds of messy sketches in the trash. We see the confident speaker on stage, not the years of nervous practice in front of a mirror. We're constantly exposed to the finished product, and we mistakenly assume that it began with the same level of polish and self-assurance. So we tell ourselves we're not ready because our beginning doesn't look like someone else's end. So here is the truth, the central idea I want you to walk away with today. Confidence is not a cause of action. It is a result of it. Confidence is a byproduct. It's the smoke that rises from the fire of taking a step, however small. Your brain is a wonderfully practical, evidence-based machine. It doesn't trust vague affirmations as much as it trusts cold, hard data. When you sit on the couch thinking, I'm not confident enough to go to the gym, your brain has no evidence to contradict that. But when you put on your shoes and walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, even if you feel awkward, even if you don't know what you're doing, you have just given your brain a new piece of data. The data says, I am a person who, despite feeling uncertain, went to the gym. Do that a few more times and a new belief starts to form. Confidence isn't the feeling you wait for. It's a skill you build through repetition. It's like learning to ride a bike. No one feels confident before they get on. They feel wobbly and scared. But they push the pedals, they fall, they get back on, and with every small, clumsy action, they build the undeniable proof that they can do it. Confidence is the memory of past success. Okay, so how do we start? How do we put this into practice? The first step is to start ridiculously small. The biggest mistake we make is that our first step is too big. We want to go from zero to hero. Instead, I want you to lower the bar so much that it's almost impossible not to take the first step. You don't have to start a business. You have to spend 10 minutes researching one competitor. You don't have to write a novel. You have to open a document and write one single sentence. You don't have to become a runner. You have to put on your running shoes and walk to the end of the block. The goal of this first action is not to achieve a massive outcome. The goal is simply to generate a tiny piece of evidence for your brain. It's to prove the old story, the I can't story, wrong. The second strategy is to detach from the outcome and focus entirely on the process. When we tie our self-worth to a specific result, getting the job, receiving praise, making the sale, we put ourselves in a very fragile position because we don't control the outcome, but we do control our actions. So redefine what a win looks like. The win isn't getting the job. The win is sending the application you were proud of. The win isn't having your art go viral. The win is finishing the piece and sharing it. When you make the action itself the victory, you give yourself something you can achieve every single day. This creates a consistent stream of evidence for your brain, building a robust confidence that isn't dependent on external validation. Your only job is to show up and do the reps. That's it. And third, become an evidence collector. Our brains are naturally wired to remember threats and failures more than successes. It's an old survival mechanism, so we have to be intentional about logging our wins. I encourage you to keep a simple journal or a note on your phone. At the end of the day, don't write about how you felt, write about what you did. Made that phone call, wrote for 15 minutes, went for a walk, published the post. This isn't about ego, it's about building a factual case file that proves your capability to yourself. On the days when you feel that wave of doubt, when the imposter syndrome gets loud, you don't have to argue with it. You can simply open your log and look at the data. The evidence doesn't lie. It's your personal, undeniable proof that you are a person who takes action. A final crucial point. This is not about becoming fearless. Fear will probably be there. The goal isn't to eliminate fear before you act. The goal is to act with the fear. It's to let the fear sit in the passenger seat, but to insist that you remain the one who's driving the car. And when you act, sometimes you will fail. Sometimes things won't work out, but you have to reframe what failure means. It's not a verdict on your worth. It's not a stop sign. It is simply data. It's information. Every imperfect attempt teaches you something. It shows you what to adjust, what to try differently next time. Progress, not perfection, remember? So let's bring it all together. Stop waiting for the feeling of confidence to magically arrive. It won't. Go out and create it, one small, imperfect action at a time. Remember the loop. Small action leads to proof of capability. Proof of capability builds genuine confidence, and genuine confidence empowers you to take bigger action. Lower the bar, focus on the process, and collect the evidence of your own efforts. Your future self isn't waiting for you to be confident. They're just waiting for you to start. That's all for this episode of Progress Over Perfection. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message resonated with you, maybe share it with a friend who might need to hear it. Until next time, be kind to yourself and just take that next small step.